Sure.
So, if you're new to the channel, this is what we do every single Wednesday. We break down all of our top favorite games of the weekend. If we don't get to your game, don't sweat it. We will just throw it in the chat and we'll talk about it. But we have 8 games here that we're going to go over. And some of them include some of our top bets. Some of them include just games that we're really excited about. So we are going to make sure that we're covered in all of them. If, let's say, again, you missed one, don't worry about it. You could either catch it on the VOD if we talked about it and you missed the show, or you can go ahead and just let us know in the chat which teams you want to see, and we will make sure we touch on those as well. It's just there's too many games, and the show gets a little long, and we want to make sure touchdown. Yeah, we want to make sure you guys, get everything you want for the show. Scotty, I thought you were getting a Patrick Mahomes fathead for your wall, says Football Wife.
I mean, then no one would look at me. They just see Pat Mahomes' head behind me. Maybe I will. I don't know, guys. Help me out. I'm not a designer, but I also need something that is easily moved off the wall because, as I've said before, my wife works a lot in here, is on camera, and I think it'd be a little weird if she's on camera and people see Pat Mahomes' fat head behind her. And she has to explain that every time. I'd feel a little bad.
I mean, she is kind of a big-time salesperson, so...
Yeah, no, she makes a little more money at her job than I do on this stream. Just it's close.
Yeah, it's close. I mean, we are balling, but, I don't know if
we're killing it.
I don't know if we're balling,
Yeah.
So here's the first game and the game that we will be covering tomorrow night. Don't go anywhere, guys. We have to draft this team for you guys, and we are going to be doing a fun contest that starts tonight that rolls over to tomorrow for this game live when we cover this in prime time. So Bills at Rams, the spread right now, Bills -2.5 in this one, over under 52. So with this is going to be the premier kickoff game of the week. We have the Super Bowl champions against the AFC favorites here in week 1. Now the Bills on the road in LA are -2.5. This line is weird to me, Scotty. Isn't this a weird line? Given the fact that if this was, I mean, home field is what it is, right? It's changed over the years. It used to be 3.
It's not 3 anymore.
It's not 3 anymore.
Maybe for a couple teams it is, but for most it's not.
Yeah, some teams, I mean, right now, I think I heard the home field advantage were like 1.8 to 2 in ish. It's like fluctuating a little bit back and forth. But if you just put the home field advantage at a full 3, let's just say that, and you take this on a neutral site, and it's plus half for the. I mean,
no, a neutral Bills would be -5.5
or minus. Yeah. You're right. And then if you take this and put it in Buffalo, then you're saying the Buffalo Bills. I mean,
8.5. I can do math for you, Chris. I got you.
I just don't know if this line is weird to me. And so I think we both have some action on this game when it comes to what we think is the line here. The Rams are defending champions at home. They have a stacked roster. They have a lot going for them. The Bills are coming off just a season where they fell a little short, but still a very, very talented team with Josh Allen. And, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's picked to win MVP in a lot of circles and, all these things. But either way, this is going to make for a really, really solid matchup. I honestly think, in my opinion...
I got you in a second, Moon Princess.
Are
you doing the chip or just the sauces?
No, so I think we're going to be debuting that this weekend, I believe. I have the sauces. Unless we're doing it tonight, I could go get them real quick.
They're talking about the chip. Are you doing the chip and the sauces, or just the sauces?
No, I'm doing the sauces on something. The sauce is on something. So,
well, you know what they're talking about with the chip, though. That's like that one chip that turns your mouth blue or whatever.
No, the one chip challenge. This is going to be hotter, I think, than the one chip challenge when I do my. I don't
Perfect.
think I wasn't planning to do it tonight, so we're going to do that probably Sunday night. I think Sunday night football.
Yeah,
we're gonna.
I'll just commentate the whole game while you can't breathe and you're vomiting in the background, Chris.
Yeah, but I could handle heat. Though.
Great.
I could handle heat. So Sunday night, come back for that. It's going to be I'm gonna do some wings for it, or some nuggets or something. I'll coat those up. I'll do it big. We'll go big.
Yep. Real quick, because Moon Princess says I don't understand any of these numbers, and that's fair.
So let's do this.
I'll dive in real quick as we move through these picks. When we say the spread, that's it. When you bet on the spread, they're basically saying, in this instance, in this game, they're favoring the Bills by 2.5 points. So essentially, the Bills are minus 2.5. So if you bet on the Bills, or you subtract 2.5 points at the end of the game, and if they still win the game, you win, right? That's the easiest way I think to put it, is like Bills minus 2.5. They have to then win. In order for you to win your bet, if you bet on the Bills, you got to win by 3 or more if you're the Bills. Rams can lose this game. And if you bet on the Rams minus 2.5, you can still win if they lose by less than 2.5 points. So it levels out the playing field essentially. Now the over under here, that just means total points for the game. So combined score from the two teams, do you think it's going to be over 52 points or under 52? 52 is a high number, one of our higher numbers this whole week in week 1. So whatever you think on that. And then money line is you're just picking whatever team you think is going to win the game. You're eliminating the spread. All you're picking is who wins the game. Now, when we say minus 135 on Buffalo, that means you have to bet $135 on Buffalo in order to profit $100. And vice versa, if you bet $100, let's say, on the Rams, you're going to profit $115 because they're plus 115. So you make money on that based off the line. I hope I explained that in a way that makes sense.
I mean,
help me out, Chris.
In a nutshell, it's just a way of balancing. So, like, let's say you have the best team in the league versus the worst team in the league, and you know who's going to win that game. So what Vegas does is it puts some odds in there or some spreads so that you might consider taking the bad team. So if you give the Rams playing against the Jaguars, if you give the Jaguars 14 points before the game even starts, then you're more likely to take the Jaguars. So 14 plus whatever score they end up with, that if that wins, then if they, I'm more inclined to take the Jaguars in that matchup. Same thing. Like if I have to bet $2,000 to win 100 on a team, I'm going to second guess that a little bit because it's like, I know it's a guaranteed win, but I'm not going to win a ton off of it. So they balance it out by giving you an option to bet and win big on a team that might not have, a chance. And if they do, you cash in. So that's the gambling aspect. Do you take a chance to try to win big on a team that might not be a favorite? We'll keep explaining this throughout the course of the year. We'll do this every week. If you have questions, we'll help you to understand some of these lines and different things. But realistically, we're going to be talking about just what we like in these games. And so, overall, I think this game was interesting in the sense that I think, I'm pulling up something here that this game started out where as soon as Matt Stafford found out that he had the elbow issue, all of a sudden this line changed. So, that was kind of another indication. I don't know. I think that this is a weird one. I lean towards the Rams at home getting points. You don't really, a team of this caliber coming off a Super Bowl with the talent that they have, getting points at home in a season opener. It's hard to pass up on that. Now, I have this game, and I think you do too, Scotty, teased up. So we'll get into teasers here in a little bit. But the plus points are very attractive here for a team that is as good as the Rams are. Yeah.
Listen, Moon Princess, I want to start what I'm about to say by saying I think Buffalo's a phenomenal football team. I think they absolutely are in the mix, of course, to be a favorite to win the Super Bowl. But this seems wild to me, and the fact that everyone on NFL Game Day today or yesterday, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, there's 6 people on that show, and all 6 of them, Chris, picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl. And I'm just like, what am I missing? Is this the greatest team we've ever seen, and I just don't see it? Is 2007 Patriots, who, by the way, didn't even win the Super Bowl. But is this team so epically above the rest that we just have to, like, it'd be idiotic to not call them Super Bowl champs in the preseason predictions? What am I missing, Chris? Like, this is a team, I get, they're really, really good. They added Von Miller to the equation. Obviously, love that. Josh Allen, a lot of people are hyping up as MVP of the league, but this is a team that has not made it to a Super Bowl, has lost to the Chiefs in back-to-back years. I think they absolutely could make it, but for everyone to just hype this team up and give the Rams such disrespect at home, usually, Chris, on Thursday night games, you know, the Super Bowl defending champs are at home in their opener, and they play well. They play really, really well. This is probably the first time I've ever seen a defending Super Bowl champ at home on Thursday night, because that's typically what happens, is they feature that team underdogs in general.
The last
usually
four.
they're favorites, and they cover when they're favorites, Chris.
The last 4 Super Bowl defending champions have taken their openers straight up, just winning the game. So again, if you were to say, hey, like, this is a trend that we're talking about in this game, it almost makes you feel like you might want to lean towards the defending champions in this one, right? I mean, the 2.5 points is the worst number for an NFL dog right now to sort of hold on. You know, I mean, I don't know. I think that, like, this is just
2.5's not a big number. This is close to a toss-up, because until you get to 3, that number isn't overly consequential. 3 and 7 are the huge numbers when you're talking about spread.
Yep.
So passing those numbers or getting to those numbers makes a big difference, because, quite frankly, let's say 10% of the time the Bills win this game by 3. It's historically, that's how it works out. 10% of games, you know, around this spread are going to be decided by 3 points exactly. So if it moves to 3, that changes your bet drastically. I'm boring people probably with this. I get nerdy on betting, but this game, I mean, the Bills, I think, are the better team. I do think they're the better team on paper. Let's keep in mind the Bills were hyped up last year. They came out week 1. They kind of laid an egg against the Steelers, lost week 1. Again, this is at home on Thursday night. There might be a lot of Bills fans there because it's the LA Rams and their stadium, and maybe, I'm sure Bills fans are going to travel and there'll be a large contingency there, but this is kind of a surprising line to me. I'm not ready to anoint the Bills. I think the Bills are certainly in the mix, but to say they've separated themselves from the pack, I'm not ready to say.
Moon Princess, it's entirely possible we're seeing Super Bowl matchup right here. It's true. I think I had this as my Super Bowl matchup. Thank you for saying this, as B-Rock. Scott, let's be real. You're picking the Bills if you weren't a Chiefs fan, says Reckoning.
Maybe.
I'm in Buffalo, and you should hear it around here. I think they're being overhyped, to be honest. If they lose tomorrow, there will already be panic in the local radio post-game call, in-show, and for the next 11 days until they play Tennessee. I mean, I would
love to hear just like a post-game radio broadcast in Buffalo after they lose a game when their team's supposed to be this good. That would be so entertaining to me.
They unloaded the pallet.
But like, I'm sure they just literally go to town on the team. Like, this is a disaster. We can't recover from this. And keep in mind, they're playing the defending Super Bowl champions here, Chris.
So much mafia in LA as of today. They unloaded a big pallet of Labatt Blue, the beer there.
Labatt Blue.
Labatt. Yeah. They're ready to go. There's tables ready and calling names to be lit on fire and get people thrown through. So
Cuban makes a good point. This game has the makings to be the biggest upset of the season so far. It does. It absolutely does. Everything's teed up, Chris, for that to happen.
I can feel that.
I can feel it all the way down in my claw.
Yeah, I think I feel that. There are a ton of Bills fans. Yeah, I think Bills Mafia is going to be all over the place this whole season.
And maybe that's what maybe that's what we're not understanding, is it's just going to be such a large contingency of Bills fans that it's closer to like a neutral site. And then this line makes a ton of sense to me. On a neutral site, I'd favor Buffalo, no doubt, around here, maybe even 3 points. But the Bills have to live with. it's weird, Chris, because 2 years ago they went to the AFC Championship game, and then there were big expectations, but I don't think they're matching the expectations of this offseason for the Bills. Ironically, when they didn't go to the AFC Championship game, but they looked phenomenal offensively in the 2 games they played in the playoffs. I don't know. I get it all. Like I said, let's not anoint the Bills just yet. Okay.
And also, Tre'Davious White is out for this game as well. So
yeah, he won't be back for a bit.
So either going to put all their faith in rookie Kyer Elam and Christian Benford. So there's going to be some secondary drop off a little bit from what they're used to with Tre'Davious White. So keep that in mind.
Depth at wide receiver at the Rams is going to be. It sounds like Van Jefferson, their number 3 in LA, is not going to play. They don't have a lot of depth right now beyond Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson. Then you're looking at like Tutu Atwell, who's a rookie they took a couple years ago, but he was hurt all last year, so we don't know what that is. And then another guy they took in the 7th round. His name's really hard to say, so I'm not going to try. You should try, Chris. They don't have a lot of depth there either, but.
Guys, tomorrow we will be covering this game live. We are going to be going on before kickoff, and we will be covering the entire game. So make sure you guys are here live on Twitch with us in the Action Lab. This is going to be a hell of a game to kick off the season. We're going to be doing all sorts of festivities around this game. We're going to have a fun contest that we are going to choose. You guys are going to influence whether or not we gift out a ton of subs to the community, and that's you guys drafting a team at the end of the show. And you guys go head-to-head against Scotty and myself for this big contest. So make sure you guys are there later on tonight. If you miss it, don't worry. You guys are all one team. You guys are all in this together. So I can't wait. But next up, Patriots and Dolphins. Now, we have Mr. Bill Belichick right here on the, obviously, Mac Jones hasn't earned the spot to be here quite yet because still the face of this franchise, when you think of the name, it's always Bill Belichick. So, Mac Jones still needs to work his way up on that front. But the new face in the Miami Dolphins right here, Tyreek Hill, trying to give Tua some more options with Waddle and, all the other additions on the offense. Their defense, you drafted their defense on fantasy, so you feel like their defense is going to be pretty decent this year as well.
Or no, Chris, when I draft a defense, it's for like a week at a time.
You just swap out.
But I'm more down on New England's offense.
Okay, there you go. So not a lot of faith in Mac Jones quite yet, which, again, we've talked about. Maybe he doesn't have a high ceiling, but he has a high floor. Well, somewhat of a high floor. He's not going to get you less than like 15, but he's not going to get you more than 20 or something. Like, it's kind of like what you're getting.
And part of it's not even Mac Jones' fault. Chris, who's the best wide receiver on New England's roster?
They're piecemealing a wide receiver core, and the running backs are average at best.
And their offensive line may be slightly above average. And they're tight. They have a couple tight ends that they like a lot, but they're guys that don't. Hunter Henry and the dude from Tennessee that they also signed last offseason. Like, they had such a bad offseason. Everyone hyped them last offseason, like 2 offseasons ago, when they paid all this money to what I would call average at best players. And look what it's got them. Nowhere. Chris, looking at this game, I have the Dolphins making the playoffs on my playoff prediction, so I'm a little higher on the Dolphins than most. I'm probably lower on the Patriots than most. So this is an obvious pick, right? For me, 3.5 is a lot of points. And I keep staring at Bill Belichick in this screen right here, Chris, and I'm like, he's got something up his sleeve. He's got some Jedi mind trick. He's fucking with us, Chris. I'm going to be honest. He's messing with us to the point that, like, he's played us this whole time, because the reports at a camp in New England, especially with their offense, really bad. Well, and everything, of course, is glowing out of Miami because they have new coach, new weapons, whatever. So there's probably too much hype on Miami, too much negative stuff on New England. So it's like, you should bet New England. I'm not touching this game, Chris. I I don't know what to think about that. And the thing is, Miami, even when they're bad, they beat New England once a year for whatever reason, and it's usually in Miami.
Yeah, no, I think this is a weird one too.
Code yellow real quick for me, Chris.
Spam code yellow in the chat for Scotty. He's taking his first code yellow. Aegis, by the way, Baltimore defense extremely popular this week for that same reason. Yeah, that's true. But who's your team, Aegis? I want to get to know you a little bit better. Like where are you from and who's your team, so we can get to know you and we can put you in your own NFL circle, right? Or with some of the other folks we have in chat. B-Rock, this car crash is versus a train wreck, says B-Rock. Andrew, Tua for MVP. I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, I think Tua's gonna have a better season than most people think. I won't be able to make it. Hopefully y'all have fun, and hopefully Devil Doc can take care of it. Yeah, we'll be fine. Reckoning, appreciate that. Cooper Kupp is going for $150 with 2 TDs. I hope so. I have him on one of my fantasy teams. Jonnu Smith from Tennessee, says Reckoning. Devontae Parker. Yeah. On the one hand, I want Tua to do well because I liked him when he played for Alabama. Roll Tide. On the other hand, I want them to lose because I want Miami to suffer. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's totally... I can see the conflicted nature of this game. I want the Patriots to just flounder. There's a weird reports in this one. There's weird reports that, for me, the Patriots, like, they're piecemealing like a defensive coordinator. I think Matt Patricia's doing like a couple different jobs, which you typically only have one job for. I think they're like... I think the players are not responding well to a lot of this, and I don't know how it's going to pan out. Bill Belichick is either... This is kind of like that scene in Jaws. Remember, if you guys seen Jaws, right? The scene in Jaws where, they look at each other and he's like, they see the barrel pop up out of the water, and they're like, he's either really smart or he's really dumb. Like that's kind of how I feel about the Patriots right now. I feel like he's either really smart or he's really dumb when it comes to Bill Belichick and what he's doing with this team. So I'm kind of trying to figure this out. Welcome in, Double Doc. I don't know what he's doing with his coaching staff and like splitting duties. I don't know what they're doing with some of these positions on the team. Like they're getting weird reviews from sources saying that the players aren't meshing well with how things are running in camp. I just feel the Dolphins and the Patriots are going two different directions here. So if it were me and if I were betting this one at any level, I would lean Dolphins -3.5 on this one. But I mean, I wouldn't feel great about it like you, Scotty. I don't know if I would bet it officially.
I'm certain the Dolphins will win this by 1 to 3 points.
Yeah. So, and again, you know who else struggles going to Miami early in the season? It's the Patriots. They haven't done well and fared well all the time going to Miami early in the season, especially.
Well, interestingly, they're already there, Chris.
Yeah, they changed this year. They did. They never
went out
do
early
this
to acclimate themselves with the hot weather of Miami.
They've never
done that. I don't know if you get acclimated to anything in 3 or 4 days. So I'm not sure. I go to a humid place unlike Colorado for 4 days, and after 4 days, I'm like, now I'm used to it. No, I'm like, this is so miserable. So miserable. I want out. I want out of here.
As a creature of habit that Bill Belichick is, does this throw out like a red flag that like he's doing something? Because he's always done the same thing over and over. He's always left the same time for these away games. He's always...
Well, but at the same time, this is week 1, so it's a little different in how you can approach it. If this was week 2, he wouldn't be leaving this early for Miami.
But I'm just saying...
If they played that week before.
I don't know. I think that...
No, I think Bill Belichick knows full well this is the worst roster he's had probably in New England in quite a while.
Yeah.
I don't think he doubts that. But does he doubt himself? Probably not.
Lazy Dumper in the chat. As someone from Massachusetts, I can honestly say I'm concerned a little. Fair enough. That's Lazy Dumper. Let me know. I don't know if you're still out there, but what are people saying like on the radio waves and on the TV, like on the various local stations? I would love to know some insights. Brady is 7-0 versus the Cowboys. Reckoning Flores is the bright spot for the staff. Spot of the staff.
Oh, well, talking about Steelers.
Yeah. I was like, wait, he's not in Miami anymore. with how cheap the shit is coaching staff, you think they would they were in the Steelers staff. Yeah. All right, I gotta get some sleep, says Moon Princess. Have a great rest of the stream tonight. Catch y'all tomorrow for at least part of the. No, I want you. If you can stretch it tomorrow, Moon, I want you to. I want to watch that game with you. I want to watch that game with you.
Get a ton of sleep tonight. Let's watch a phenomenal game tomorrow night together on stream. We'll be done by a little, like maybe an hour later than now.
Yeah.
The game will be over. We'll be celebrating in whatever it is because we finished an NFL football game. Yeah. And I didn't touch on the coordinator, but Matt Patricia reportedly calling offensive plays for New England is embarrassing. It's awful.
No,
really
that's what I mentioned that while you were gone. I was like, he's in over his head. It's too much for one. I mean, that's a job for two different people, man. Like you can't just split that up. That's why I'm like, I don't know.
No, the problem is he's been a defensive guy. He was a defensive coordinator in New England before he got the Lions job. Now he comes back and he's like calling plays for the offense.
I don't know how it's going to pan out, but I don't have high hopes.
What?
I don't have high hopes. Next up on our list of top games of the weekend, we have Lions and Eagles, and this is an interesting one in the sense that I think the Eagles are in an interesting spot with new talent around them, and the Lions are up and coming. We saw a lot of their footage when it came to the Hard Knocks on HBO. If you guys watch that, it was a fun watch. I mean, the Lions are fun to watch on Hard Knocks. They were a lot of fun for sure, and they were in a lot of competitive games last year, given their record, winning 3 games last year. I mean, their record doesn't indicate how good they were in competitive games last year. So just keep that in mind with this one. But
so you're saying they were better than their record last year?
I think they were of the lower echelon teams in the NFL. They were the best of the lower echelon teams. Yeah.
Okay, go on. So I'm curious to get how you get to your bet this week. So
I just think their talent on all 3 levels of the defense when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles is just going to give this offense just a lot of trouble. I mean, their defense should make things difficult for, I think the Lions are somewhat underrated on offense, but overall, I just think the Philadelphia is a more complete team on defense to combat anything. And I think this might be a closer game than what people think. Maybe it's a close game through, the first couple, maybe the first half, maybe 3 quarters, but then the Eagles have enough depth at wide receiver, at tight end, at running back, at all the different spots offensively. And then defensively, I think they've gotten pretty good across the board on all 3 levels. I just think overall, I mean, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, those are a lot of options that you have to take away from the Eagles. And I just think that that's going to be a tough one to do when it comes to this offense for the Lions. So, overall, I think that their built offensive line can handle the Lions' upgraded pass rush. I think Hurts is going to take another step forward. I think he's going to be better. I just think, if you're putting together a lot of these other teams that are in, if you look at the week spreads, the spreads for this week, you got to put of the 5 to 6. I think this line should be more around 5.5. I think this should be a 5.5 point spread. Some of the other 6 point spreads in this week. Are you saying so? I mean, we're looking at this. Indianapolis over Houston. Let's see, where else? New Orleans over Atlanta. I think, the Lions are a little bit better than Atlanta. New Orleans, I would put on the similar level, if not lower than the Eagles. You're looking at Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, putting those off, if you're comparing.
But that's the favored teams at home, so that's different.
You got Kansas City, Arizona. Those are that I wouldn't put that one in there. Tennessee and the New York. I mean, I just put them on the same level. 6.5. Denver and Seattle. I think that Philadelphia is in the same range as some of these teams, like Denver -6. So like the New Orleans plus 5.5 or -6 minus 5.5. So I don't think it's far off from those guys and what these two teams are, upcoming Lions team and a improved Eagles team. I'll take Eagles -4.
Okay, so to be clear, guys, we haven't announced this. Both of us picked this game in our picks of the week. We just have opposite sides. Chris is taking the Eagles -4. I'm on the Lions +4. The Lions, listen, their whole city, their state is off the map. Like, they're literally getting the standing room only tickets already. I heard a couple days ago. For the first time since like 2017 or something stupid.
It's crazy.
That.
It's awesome.
They're all on board. You have, and maybe I'm falling into the emotion of Hard Knocks, but this team is an up and coming team. They have plenty of talent. I have the Eagles. I think the Eagles are a good team. I think the Eagles are a very good team. I think it might take a little time for some of that to mesh when you're talking about AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, that offense, the defense added pieces. I also think that'll take time, but like the pieces they added, I'm like, are we sure these are like dominant pieces or are these just okay pieces? I think it helps them, but it doesn't make this defense elite. I totally disagree that Detroit can't move the ball on this defense. I think Detroit absolutely can move the ball on this Eagles defense in week 1 for sure. I mean, this Detroit offense is better than people give credit for. Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Swift, TJ Hawkinson at tight end. There's plenty of weapons. Jared Goff, fun fact, 5-0 against the spread week 1 in his career. Plays well week 1. Always has. You're at home. Chris, let's do this exercise again. Let's do this three-point home field advantage. This would place the Eagles, if they were playing in Philadelphia, as 10-point favorites against the Lions. The Eagles should be 10-point favorites against no one at this point. They have not proven anything. They were the number 7 seed. They barely squeezed in the playoffs last year. Everyone's like so convinced that Jalen Hurts is going to be better. I think Jalen Hurts is a very good fantasy quarterback. I'm not sure that Jalen Hurts is a good real-life quarterback. In fact, I wouldn't rank him in the top half of the league. So when we're talking about dominant teams, and this team is favored on the road by 4 opening week with a quarterback that I would rank in the bottom half of the league, I'm not there. I'm not there with I think they'll win because their roster is good, and I think Hurts can make some plays, but I trust this Lions team to battle their ass off. I think they're more talented than people give them credit for. I think they cover this 4. I really do.
We'll find out coming up this weekend in week 1 of the NFL season, guys. It is here. We are 17 hours away from kickoff tomorrow night. Make sure you guys are here with us each and every single step of the way when it comes to our watch party tomorrow night and Sunday night football. We're going to be recapping on Sunday. We always recap every single game during halftime, post game of the Sunday night football game. So make sure you guys are there. And we will go over what we did correctly, what we bet correctly, and what we did not. So don't miss that as well. Let's see. What else do we have here in the chat? The Patriots. It's the Patriots. They're getting there early to film practice, says Cuban. Breaking Cole Strange will be the only rookie starting for the Patriots. Daddy Campbell. Love that guy, says Football Wife. There are also reports around that Bill Belichick won't usually hire an outside man in the Pats system, which is, I don't know, why is that a thing? It's weird.
He has his shit. I don't know. No one understands him. I respect him,
tomorrow,
but no one understands
Football
him.
Wife, what time are you live tomorrow? We will be live about 15 minutes before the game, previewing the game again one more time.
Yeah, in between our time, 6 and 6:10, which would be 8 and 8:10 Eastern, somewhere in that window.
Correct. What's up, G Girl? How we doing? Welcome in. Hope you had a great stream.
What's up, G Girl?
G Girl's also always all over football. She has been prepping for the season as well. Go give her a follow if you have not already. She absolutely crushes. So hope you had a great vacation, G Girl, and we can't wait to maybe we can get you on our stream once in a while and get you having fun with us for like a Sunday night football game or something along those lines. But
G-Girl, another draft. G-Girl, how many leagues are you in? I feel like you might be in more than Chris.
Oh, man.
Where you're just cheering for every player in the league because they're on one of your teams. That's where I have to press pause. But how'd your draft go with Bridget's league? Excited for tomorrow. Are you kidding me? G-Girl? Cloud 9. We're so ready for tomorrow.
It's hype central over here. We are going nuts. It is fantastic.
I'm gonna start tapping my head.
Oh man, it's gonna be out of control. All right, next up on this one, we have
9 fantasy leagues for G-Girl, 14 for Devil Doc. How do you even keep them straight? That blows my mind. I'm in 3, Chris, and 2 of them were on our stream. And the other one, I'm not in a pay league because I used to, for differing reasons. It doesn't matter. But like 9 and 14, I'm in 3. I'm in 2 here, and I'm in Kyle King's fantasy streamers versus Kingsman league, which I will win. By the way,
represent ActionLab.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna win that one.
I
don't know how to keep track of all those. That gives me anxiety just thinking about it.
I have 5, and that's way more than I've ever had. So I have 2 with our stream. I have 2 paid, and I have one with work that I just got pulled into literally this afternoon. So, I mean, that's easy money, though. Okay, so Radio Wave they're saying Matt Patricia is kind of in a Belichick's pocket. I like how you did that. Like he only talks to him at camp, and it's the first guy who goes to in a lot of meetings and blah blah blah. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, like Brady and Giselle is it's weird. It's weird. I don't know. Lazy Dumper, appreciate that. Appreciate the insights there. It's fantastic. But yeah, it's just
he must be listening to a lot of radio when he's on the toilet seat, and I appreciate that. Good for you.
All right. Lots of friends want me to play, mostly friends from time in military. Devil Doc says, yeah, you always get pulled in a lot of different directions with leagues. It's like, hey, join mine. It's tough to get them all. Good evening, Chris. Good evening, Scott. Good evening, all, says Broncos. What's up, Broncos? Welcome in. Let's dive into this.
Say good evening, Chris, first. And Devil Doc also. I didn't know you were in the military, so that's cool.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. Appreciate that. Yeah, I don't have time for all this, but we do need to get into some of these games, Chris. Yes. You're right.
Steelers.
Chris tries to move the show, and I just talk too much.
We want to make sure we get all y'all in chat. Squand already has his pick on this one. Bengals by 13, which is a big one. That's a big spread there, Squand. So you obviously love Bengals minus at least winning this game by a touchdown. Or
a football, Chris. I don't know how many that is, but you haven't won him by a football.
Let's freaking go, says Football Wife. She's hyped about her Bengals.
Football Wife.
So
as she should be.
Bengals coming off their Super Bowl appearance, playing a division rival, the Steelers. You know, Mr. Watt is on the other side of this football, but Bengals team very improved. They improved their one weakness, which was the offensive line. A lot of people saying, hey.
What's up? Thank you.
Neats.
It was weird because it didn't cover my face, so I don't know what went wrong there. Chris, fix the graphic. Yeah. Thank you, Neats Calamaro.
Who's your team and where are you from? We like to get to know you a little bit. We want to know who your teams are so we can...
Makes me hungry for some calamari. I would eat some calamari
That's the first thing I thought of. Welcome in.
Love it.
So, yeah, they're much improved on the offensive line. They have an electric wide receiver core. I mean, top to bottom, they have maybe the best wide receivers in all of football, arguably. So and maybe not arguably, maybe it's just top to bottom. They just have
those top 3. I would rank above anybody.
I mean, they are fantastic. So, obviously the Pittsburgh Steelers have been battling through quarterbacks. They finally came down to one, and who is that quarterback, Scotty?
It's Mitchell
Trubisky.
And he's ready to go because he said, let's ride.
Let's ride. Yeah, he was on social media posting Let's Ride clips. The problem is, I don't know if he'll be able to ride like everyone else who's been posting those clips. I think they're going to struggle in this one, and I think that this one's going to be a tough year for the Steelers, going up especially against a team like the Bengals, who are favored to win this division. At least that was my division pick coming into the season. But I just think the Steelers, I know we have a couple Steelers fans, Rec and Devil Doc, you guys rock your Steelers, and I think they'll be competitive in some games. I just don't know if they're going to win a lot of them. But, Cincinnati, Joe Burrow is coming into his own here. And I just think that this one, division matchups, especially in the AFC North, are always very, very competitive, regardless of how good these teams are. So the spread, I don't want to mess around with like betting this one by any means. I think this might considerably be it might be a decent close game. I think that that's in the realm of possibilities. But either way, the Steelers, I don't know if I give them a good chance, whether it's Mitch Trubisky or anybody else they have on their roster. Kenny Pickett, anybody. I just think that, they're just outmatched. Hold on to your butts. And I just don't know if they can hang with Cincinnati in week 1.
Yeah! Let's go!
Football wife's pumped. As she should be. The Bengals are obviously defending AFC champions. Going to be great. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to say I'm somewhat upset, and I listened to some pods after this, which probably influenced my decision, that I didn't make this as one of my picks of the week, Chris.
Ooh.
I like the Steelers plus 6.5 here. There are a couple trends. There are a couple trends out there that I heard this week, or today, actually. One, divisional underdogs in week 1 are in the last, I forget, and I'm going to forget the records of both these, but divisional underdogs, so playing a divisional opponent as an underdog in week 1, you cover a lot. I forget a lot of the time. But more importantly than that, the loser of the Super Bowl in the prior year is since 2012 or something. I don't know. That might be 20, way further back than that. Whatever. Is 4-18 against the spread in week 1. So the loser of the Super Bowl, which the Bengals were, against the spread in week 1 in the last 20 years or so is 4-18 against the spread, Chris. And they're even 9-13 straight up. So they lose more often than they win in week 1. And let's be honest, they're defending conference championship. Yep. Conference champions. They're favored in that game. They don't show up great in week 1, to be honest. I don't know if that's telling for the whole season. There's a lot of trends that favor the Steelers, and you talk about I don't know if the Steelers can hang. Can we talk about how I'm not sure it's a downgrade? In fact, it's an upgrade. Big Ben last year was trash.
He wasn't good. He wasn't good.
It was so bad. And I don't think Trubisky is anything special by any means. And maybe, but at worst, he's like a push to me, Chris. He's like a push.
Chairman, thank you for the 7 months. Chairman. Appreciate it. Welcome in, Chairman. How are we doing?
Chairman, I don't know if he was here when we talked about his Lions and how you're betting against his Lions, and I'm betting on his Lions in week 1.
Well, you and Chairman are always on the same page. We also have...
We're right more often than not.
I'm also taking Mayday, who just popped in and said, I'm new here. Welcome back, Mayday.
Mayday.
Welcome in, buddy. It's been a while. How you been? We missed you, buddy.
Oh, buddy, old guy. One of my best friends from the start.
You're a good man to bet those birds, says Mayday. Yes, sir.
My man.
Again, Mayday and I butt heads at times, Chris. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But no, I think the Bengals are a better squad here, but 6.5, a little too steep for me. It's a pretty low point total at 44.5. I think the Steelers probably surprise some people and cover here. If not, win outright.
I mean, again, I mentioned it when I was talking about this game. the division, I mean, the AFC North battles. I mean, that's not a new thing. So when it comes to this game, I could see it being close. I don't know. I didn't bet this game, but
now caveat is the Bengals blew out the Steelers in their 2 games last year. Absolutely annihilated them. So who knows?
Yeah. Football Wives. Oh, great. Thanks, Scotty, for those stats.
I'm just going off trends, you know.
Trends. Close up of that beard, Broncos. Yeah, you weren't here early on when you did the close up, but the beard is growing in thick.
I'm going to start doing a daily
you should
diary blog in our Discord about the adventures of this beard.
What do you have? Like,
I wake up every day and it's hard, Chris. I feel like I'm isolated. I feel like I'm alone. My wife doesn't like it. And we've already seen, I've already outkicked my coverage. It's not a good idea for me to jeopardize it by growing a beard that she doesn't like, Chris. I'm living dangerously. And it's for you guys. And I'm not going to lie to you. She wants to do family pictures in the near future. She's like, you can't have that beard. I'm like, I can't betray the trust of my
you're gonna be needing
people.
You're gonna be needing to do winter family pictures because you have 58 days or I don't know 50
not 58. It's less than that, Chris. It's like 55.
It's a lot of days before you're gonna be working into Thanksgiving fall pictures.
Why do people like these things? Why do they like hair on their face? It's annoying. I think people just don't like their face, so they're like, let's cover it up with some hair. But my hair doesn't. Beards are hot. Unless you have a great face like me, and then you don't need it. I'm making shit up at this point, Chris. I don't know.
So tomorrow, Chris does the one hot chip. Should I do it tomorrow or should I do it on Sunday? I could do it either way. Regardless,
but it's not the hot chip challenge.
It's not the hot chip challenge. It's like
it's like the bomb hot sauce, and what's the other one, Chris?
Like the last dab, like from hot ones. So it's like, yeah, we're not. I didn't order the hot chip. These are, I think, arguably hotter than the hot chip. But
maybe you should just start with the hot chip tomorrow, and then do the other one on Sunday.
True, we could. Just do
disaster here.
Just do hot stuff literally every single. Then my tolerance will be up, and then it won't even be entertaining anymore.
Won't even feel a thing.
I won't even feel a thing.
Nope.
Let's dive into this game. This game is fascinating, and this game, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm surprised you didn't do anything with this game, Chris.
I wanted to, but I don't know what to expect from Green Bay. I mean, I love Minnesota. I love Minnesota. We both love Minnesota, and I think that
which is why I feel like you betrayed us.
I love the teaser for Minnesota, but
but you didn't even put that in there.
I didn't even put that in there. I
have, that's what I have as a teaser with Minnesota, and you didn't even put that in there.
Milwaukee's surpriser, shocker. You got the Packers in this one.
Milwaukee's. I had no idea with 8 Packers on your bench in fantasy that you like the Packers.
Mr. Boofus, welcome in. Not gonna lie, I like my beard. Also, Packers versus Vikings. I need both teams to lose this game. I mean, I don't know if that's possible. I don't think it is. I think that's almost an.
Doofus, are you a Lions or Bears fan?
It's almost an impossibility unless you're exclamation point possible. Then anything's possible.
I think if you tie, you kind of both lose.
Anything is possible. Who knows? But yeah, little birdie told me that Scott went by hot chip in high school. Says Broncos.
I don't know who told you that, Broncos, but I need to know how you got that information.
Anything is possible.
It's a secret.
Bears fan.
G-Girl's like Vikings? Yeah, G-Girl. We're both
very high on the Vikings this year. I mean, starting with Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne, Irv Smith. I'm high on Irv Smith from a tight end standpoint. He's coming off an injury. No one is giving him a look. They got Dalvin Cook in the running. I mean, they're stacked.
The best wide receiver in the league, perhaps?
Yeah, absolutely. So they'll throw, a lot on early downs. I think they'll be more aggressive. Their offensive coaching staff will be more aggressive than they typically have been with previous coaching staffs, right? So I think that's going to be a big piece of this puzzle. Now, they're going against one of the top-notch defenses in the Packers. Packers offense, I think, is their weakness. They could struggle. Given the fact that they do have Aaron Rodgers, they will elevate Aaron Rodgers, or he will elevate his wide receiver core. I get that. But losing Devontae Adams, who they targeted like 60-some% of the time it was ridiculous how many times they... Alan Lazard, is he that guy?
No, Alan Lazard is likely not to play.
Well,
Chris,
even if he did,
hurt.
well, yeah, even if he was playing in this matchup,
he might be out for a while.
And so
there's reports it's Lisfranc.
Ooh,
It's a midfoot. He got stepped on, is all they're saying right now. But it sounds like it's a Lisfranc injury, middle of the foot.
It's not good.
It's trouble. It's trouble.
Zadarius Smith, Danielle Hunter are healthy, which that if they can stay healthy all season long, could be some of the best tandem of pass rushers in that division, if not the NFL. I just think that they are going to be very, very good across the board. Minnesota plus 1.5 is a little tight for me. I just don't know what to expect from how Green Bay's defense and how well they can shut down the weapons. It's going to be a fascinating offense versus defense kind of a matchup here. I just want to make sure. I want to see this a week or two in, but I'm going to be watching this game very, very closely, and I think this could be one of the best games of the week.
Yeah, Chris. This is a must-win for us, Chris.
Yep.
We picked the Vikings to win the NFC North, both of us. They can't afford to lose at home week 1 to the Packers and still expect to win that division. This is a huge, huge week for the Vikings. You have a Packers team that I don't know what wide receivers lining up. I think that offense is really, really, really going to struggle early on. Listen, we rank the Packers as the number 1 or number 2 offense or defense. I'm sorry, defense number 1.
Yep.
So I think the defense is going to be great. Don't get me wrong. This Vikings offense is going to be opened up under Kevin O'Connell, a reboot, and not so much featuring the run and in bad situations. Justin Jefferson's going to be the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy this year if he stays healthy. I have no doubt in my mind. Dalvin Cook's still going to be a big playmaker. You talked about that. You still have Thielen. You have another guy on the outside I'm drawing a blank on. And then you have Irv Smith at tight end with a pretty good offensive line. There's no reason this team... I literally love this team offensively.
KJ Osborne is the other guy.
And defensively, Zadarius Smith came out and was like, the reason I went to the Vikings is so I could play the Packers twice. Of course, he came from the Packers. He's pissed off about it. He's ready to go. It's all fired up. I just think... this Packers team was, listen, I thought for a long time the former coaching staff was really, really good and helped. But eventually, I think it was like a detriment. And they were too old school and not open enough to open this offense up. I think Kirk Cousins is going to be a top 10 fantasy quarterback this year. I love this offense. I love it. The defense... the secondary I have concerns with, but I love the pass rushers, as you talked about with Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith. I think they're going to have to score a lot. Justin Jefferson's a stud. And I'm taking the Vikings, in a teaser. So I'm taking them with 6 more points. So I'm expecting them to either win this game or lose by less than 7.5.
Reckoning is like Danielle. For both of us. We both
Danielle Hunter. Don't spell it like Danielle.
Don't spell it like Danielle Hunter. All right? Just don't. That what?
That is a parenting mistake. There's so many wrong decisions there. First of all, don't even name your kid Danielle.
Especially if you're going to pronounce it. Maybe this needs to be
there's no way phonetically you can read that and say that's Danielle. That's just... it's certifiably insane, and I'm not going to do it, Chris. I'm going to call him Danielle forever because it's not... you look at the name, you can't even get to Danielle. You can't even get to from there. You can't.
We will die on this hill, reckoning.
I will die on that hill forever. Spell the name correctly if you want to call it, have it be called correctly, because that's not close.
Or change the way it's spelled. You have to do something with it. Everyone's cracking up. Hot take. But yeah, so this is going to be a fascinating game. Keep your eye on this one, guys. I can't wait for this game to kick off. This is going to be
We need this one, Chris.
We need this one bad.
We need it.
Let's get it.
I won't be watching very aggressively because my Chiefs will be blowing out the Cardinals at the time, but
Yeah. No, that's fair. I totally.
I'll have it on the red zone side screen.
Hey, make sure. Yeah. As long as the Vikings beat the Packers. Sorry, Milwaukee's. Sorry. We love you. I know. But Milwaukee's is probably just like unfollowing. Like, get out of here. All right. So let's talk about the most overhyped team in football. And that is
I know where you're headed. Yeah, go ahead.
That is the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers are hosting the Raiders here, and there's a lot of love on the Chargers here. And rightfully so. They've done a lot here in this offseason to do what they can to stay in the arms race with the AFC West. AFC West, best division in football. So, from this standpoint, I think that, all right. So the Raiders reloaded as well. They got Devontae Adams from the Packers, who we were just talking about. JC Jackson, all of these, a lot of people are loving the defense. We talked about how the defense of the Chargers didn't do so well last year, especially against the run. The run was very susceptible to giving up some big plays and giving up a lot of yardage over the course of the last year. But you want to talk about one of the most hyped over, I don't know. Like, we talk about this a lot. Chargers always getting the hype. The Raiders are going to be a good team too, though. Everywhere I look, everyone's got the Chargers winning this game outright -3. This is a interesting one because the Chargers are starting. Again, we talk about the home field advantage. I don't know how much
they don't, and they don't have one in this game.
They don't have.
There
one.
will be more Raiders fans in this game than Chargers fans.
Exactly, and that's the thing that you got to take away from that standpoint. So Chargers right now are favored to win this game by 3. The over-under is 52 combined points. And then they're -178 here. So, a lot of people have Justin Herbert, who is a fantastic player. He's a fantastic quarterback. And he is getting as much love as you could possibly get. You saw Stephen A. Smith rank him number 2 overall in the NFL. And this is the year. He needs to prove it, and he's going to have a good year. I know he will have a good year. Will it be enough to win those big games? That's what I'm wondering. Hey!
Thank you, Jim on Sports, for the
Jim
raid.
on Sports, let's go. Joel Hernandez, welcome in. Jim.
Hope you had a great stream, Jim.
Let me give a shout out to Jim.
As we are for NFL football to start. If you're on the East Coast, Chris, it's almost today. We're less than an hour from today. If you're on the East Coast,
17 hours, 5 minutes, and 7 seconds. That's where we're at.
That's it.
Welcome
that
in,
is it.
Raiders, and coincidentally, Scotty and Chris are talking about Raiders and Chargers. We are your hosts for the Action Lab, Chris and Scott. For all you new folks coming in, we will be live tomorrow night for Thursday night football and live for Sunday night football, watching these games. So make sure you guys tune in. Jim, hey, we're doing good, brother. How are you doing, my friend? Hope you had a great stream. Let me know. But we are going through our preview of all of our top games of the week coming up here in week 1. So make sure you guys throw your thoughts in on what you think are going to happen. If you're new and you haven't joined our contest, we have contests going on, Pick'em and Survivor. It's free to enter, and we can win some cool Action Lab prizes from our store here. I'll put the store link as well. For all of our Action Lab gear, we have these hats as well. These guys here, Action Lab hats. We have hoodies, we have shirts, we have quarter zips, we got all sorts of coffee mugs, everything. So go check them out. Have you seen that junk quarterback list from 538? Highest of high comedy.
I did see it today.
Who's on it? I didn't see it.
Chris, I didn't memorize it. I just remember Trubisky was ranked 12. And I was like, all right, you lost me there. I don't know how to come back from that. No offense, Brack, if you're still here, but I can't come back from Trubisky ranked 12. There were some weird ones in there. No doubt about it. It was bizarre.
Didn't we have Trubisky at 20? 25
They're
or something.
all like 538's not a sports website, right? It's just like a analytics driven website, which is fine. But like, maybe you should have a guy overseeing your analytics to be like, hey, you just had an algorithm that put Trubisky at 12. We need to fix this. There's something wrong with it. Or even if there's not something wrong, just change that. Like, it doesn't matter what the algorithm is. Just don't put Trubisky that high. Yeah, no, it was really, really, really bad. Trevor Siemian ranked higher than Justin Fields. Why not? Because we just haven't watched a sport in our lives. We're just literally pressing out numbers.
Come on, man.
And that's why I like analytics, don't get me wrong, but there's two sides to it. There's analytics and there's just, I don't know, watch a fucking game, Chris. There's part of that. And when you see Justin Fields, of course his analytics are going to look bad because he's behind one of the worst offensive lines we've ever seen in football. It's a dumpster fire out there. And now they have a rookie left tackle in week 1 that has to go against Nick Bosa. Justin Fields might die on Sunday, Chris.
He might. You're not wrong.
Because it's such a mismatch out there. And even Justin Fields in a press conference was like, I hope you guys aren't going to get on our like rookie left tackle if he doesn't win every snap against Nick Bosa.
Just totally like, throwing him under the bus.
Bruh.
He's not throwing him above. He's trying to protect him. I appreciate what Fields said because Nick Bosa, from what I heard in San Francisco camp, went against the best left tackle in football.
Come on.
With the Niners and won 60% of the time against Trent. The best left tackle in football by far. And he won. I'm so high on Nick Bosa. I think Nick Bosa, if he stays healthy, could be Defensive Player of the Year. I think he's much better than his brother Joey. I think Nick Bosa is a monster. And I feel bad for Justin Fields week 1. But I'm getting off on a tangent because we're supposed to be talking about this Chargers-Raiders game.
Dive into Chargers-Raiders. What do you think here? Yeah. Obviously, Chargers. Raiders, again, are improved, but I think their weakness is the secondary. Their weakness is getting thrown on, and there's a good chance that there could be some bigger plays downfield, stretching the field from the Chargers that I think is the difference in this game. If I was leaning anything, it would slightly lean Chargers, but like, I don't know. This is a weird one for me. I didn't touch this game. I left it alone, but AFC West is going to be fire all year long. They're going to be huge matchups between these teams, and I can't wait to watch these games.
Yeah, let's keep in mind, we might have had the game of the year last year. It probably was the game of the year last year, Chris. Last week of the season, Sunday Night Football, we were on. Yep. These two teams going at it with a playoff berth on the line. If they tied, which they went to overtime, they both make it. Raiders kick a field goal in the last play of the game to win the game and eliminate the Chargers from the playoffs. So, and you look at it, both rosters improved, obviously. You look at the Chargers, we've talked about Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson on defense, some run stoppers that someone mentioned in our YouTube that I'm like, okay, those are Jacks. Cool. But with an elite offense that I appreciate what Herbert is and has done, and the stats are phenomenal in 2 years. No doubt about it. You look at the Raiders, you add Devontae Adams, pictured here. You know, maybe the number 1 wide receiver, most talented wide receiver in the NFL. You add Cunningham on to go with Max Crosby on the edge, and that's an elite edge. I agree. I'm worried about the back 7 in general, not just the secondary, but the linebacking core and with the Raiders, where I think there's more pieces in LA. But LA, Chris, as people that live our lives in the AFC West, we've seen it year after year. Yep. The Chargers before LA, even when they were in San Diego, were hyped every offseason. So forgive us for doubting them, okay? And everyone's like, Herbert's going to be MVP. There's a lot of people picking Herbert to be MVP, win the division. Herbert is 15-17. That's his record in 2 years.
Yep.
15-17. Mahomes, his regular season record, Chris, 50-13. I'll say that again. Herbert's record, 15-17. In twice the amount of games, Mahomes is 50-13. Lost 4 fewer games in they're in twice the amount of games. Okay? So before we hype the Chargers completely, can we just figure out if they figure it out? Let's just make sure they figure their shit out. Because on paper, I agree. The Chargers look very, very good on paper. They do. But there's been a lot of years that people felt that way. And then they just shit the bed.
Yep.
We'll see.
Yeah. No,
I didn't bet on this game, but I'm excited to watch this one as well, Chris. This is going to be a great one.
Yeah, no, I think...
And then the Chargers they have to go after this to Kansas City on Thursday night in week 2. So they follow up this game, and that following Thursday, they're in Kansas City. By the way, JC Jackson, as I move my camera here, doesn't look like he's going to play week 1. So they're big corner pickup, not going to play week 1. Probably won't play on Thursday. If you're not healthy on Sunday, how are you going to be healthy on Thursday? He had surgery a few weeks ago. Yeah. Yeah,
no, you mentioned the I mean, again, the record for Herbert and the fact that he's getting crowned early on in this season. And again, he hasn't had like the success overall. I mean, he's got stats. Fine, stats are fine. The success is what I'm looking for from like the quarterback side of the football. I mean, my boy Russell Wilson, 104, 53-1 in his career. Just throwing that out there too. So he's got a lot of
like twice the amount as he loses. That's good.
It's pretty
Jim
good.
On Sports, the whole division is up for grabs. Every time I think about picking a favorite, I wind up immediately contradicting myself. Let me help you. Why not pick the team that's won the division in the last 6 years, along with having the best quarterback and best coach in the division? Why not do that? And they're like, I'm not sure about their defense. When has the Chiefs defense been good with Mahomes? He has not had a top half of the league defense. Even when he won the Super Bowl, that wasn't a top half of the league defense.
Speaking of
as we get to
Mahomes, this is a perfect segue. Slap Scotty says reckoning for getting not to show the
every
AFC,
team,
not name KC. Urban Meyer not
everyone should be picking the Chiefs to win the fucking Super Bowl. That's all.
Bruh.
Oh, no shot. No, they do have a shot. They do. KC's wide receiver room took a dip. Running back room wasn't much to begin with, says Jim on Sports.
I think the KC wide receiver room, certainly top end, took a dip, but the depth is so much better. I don't know what to expect. It'll be interesting to see.
Go Cardinals. I'm keeping the faith, says JK. I wouldn't be surprised if Cards win this game, says Mr. Boofus. So there's a lot of people in the chat. Well, actually 2 in the chat that are saying the Cardinals have a decent shot at this one. Chiefs at Cardinals here coming up this weekend, week 1 NFL. We have a spread of 6.5 for the Chiefs. So a touchdown, 7 points wins this game for the Chiefs. If you're betting on the spread, 53.5. That's a pretty decent scoring output. Now,
highest of the weekend, I believe.
Pretty decent scoring output. Yeah, absolutely. So, with this being said, you got Kyler Murray on one end of the football who just got that massive contract and he doesn't do homework, right? The homework's kind of... You remember we were talking about taking notes early on in the stream? He don't take notes.
He doesn't even read the book, Chris.
He doesn't even read the book to take the notes. I was on, I use a couple different resources for my bets and how I kind of like look through things. There are 3 experts that made picks on this one. All Arizona +6, +6, +4.5 when it was early on in the week. So
the 4.5 person looks dumb.
Yeah. So
actually, all of them kind of look dumb right now.
Thank you, Football Web, for throwing the store out there. Yeah. So it's
the line 6.5.
I don't agree with it though. Everyone. So for me,
I'm shocked.
I'm kind of shocked on this one too, because knowing how the season ended last year with KC, you've mentioned this a couple times about them going scorched earth on people and like proving people wrong. And the Cardinals. What's up, Mr. Navy? How you doing? Definitely taking the under in this one. It is the highest of the week. Under doesn't seem bad. I think the Chiefs could hold the Cardinals a little bit lower. But who's your team, Mr. Navy? Like to get to know you a little bit. I just think that the Chiefs, I think they put it to the Cardinals here. The Cardinals still have some deficiencies. I think they're missing, their top wideout. They've had injuries coming into from last season to this season. I think that there's some question marks and some distractions that Kyler Murray has, dealt with early on in the camp and everything else. Seahawks. Okay, nice, Mr. Navy. Sorry in advance for Monday night.
Don't be sorry. We'll get into that, Navy. Let's go.
But I think the Chiefs roll here, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that it's at 6.5. Chris, the largest line right now in football in week 1 is 7. And those are teams on the road against like crappy football teams. Like Baltimore versus the Jets. Niners versus who are they playing, Chris? The Bears. Things like that. They're at 7. This is a team in the Cardinals that went 11-5 or 11-6 in the regular season last year. Playoff team, and they're underdogs at home by 6.5 to the Chiefs. I'm surprised by this line. I mean, I'm not going to bet against my Chiefs week 1, but I would not bet on the Chiefs either. Like, that seems like an aggressive line. This a few weeks ago was closer to like 2.5 and 3. Now, we know Hopkins has been out for a while. Ertz is not actually practicing right now. He might be out. JJ Watt has an injury. He didn't practice today. He may not play. Like, there are pieces there for the Cardinals. You have a Cardinals team that, like, I don't love the coach. I don't love the quarterback. I think the Chiefs should be ranked in Vegas, and they are, as the second best team behind Buffalo, and I'm fine with that. Put Buffalo above them, but they're the second best team. Mahomes is going to be fine. This offense is going to be fine. This offense still should be top 3 in the league. There's no doubt in my mind. And the defense is just younger. So we'll see. Maybe there's some growing pains, which is what scares me about the spread. But I think the Chiefs roll here too.
So
Chris,
the Chiefs,
I go to a code yellow. Sorry.
No, go for it. Chiefs are 4-0 in week 1 games under Patrick Mahomes. Those were under with Tyreek Hill. I think he can elevate the rest of this team above what people think that is the deficiency. Now, you can't replace a Tyreek Hill. I get that. The speed alone is insane, right? However, I think that Patrick Mahomes is a quarterback that can elevate the people around him and take away Tyreek Hill. I mean, you get on a good cadence with Patrick Mahomes, he'll get you the ball. He knows how to, lead the receivers. He knows how to put together a game plan along with Andy Reid to make them successful. I think they win this game. The issue I have is they haven't covered a lot of spreads going back to last season. 17 outright wins without covering the spread. Now, the spreads have been similar in this one. Like they, like 6.5, 7.5. Some of those spreads, they've been bigger spreads, so I get that because they've been such a good team overall, especially with Tyreek Hill. However, I just think that this one, the way the season ended last year, I it's hard for me to go against that. You missed this, Scotty, but Chiefs are 4-0 in week 1 games under Patrick Mahomes. Even with Tyreek Hill, not Tyreek Hill, I think they'll do very, very well here. But 17 out.
Their record is also 4-0 without Tyreek Hill in the lineup under Mahomes.
17 outright wins without covering since 2018. Come on, man. Yeah, so they haven't. The covering spreads has been kind of the big thing here. They win this game.
Wait, where is that stat? What?
Kansas
What's
City.
the stat?
Kansas City has 17 outright wins without covering since 2018, most in the NFL.
Oh, like total. I thought consecutively. Okay, yeah. All those occurred. All right, those occurred 2 years ago when they also made the Super Bowl. But fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't bet it. I wouldn't bet this game on either side. I don't like this game on either side at all. But the Chiefs are getting acclimated. They're going to start their year in Arizona. They're going to finish their year in the Arizona, Chris. It'll be a nice conclusion of the season. Start out there, finish there. It'll be nice.
Fair enough. Mahomes reminds me of 2019 Russ. He makes the players around him better, says Mr. Navy. A healthy Arizona is scary, says Mr. Doofus.
Are they? Are they?
Well, it won't be a push.
I don't trust the coach or the quarterback at all. I agree there's talent on that roster, but I don't think Kingsbury's a good coach, and I don't think that boy Kyler Murray's the dude. I saw a game, like someone mocked up a preview, Chris. I should have given it to you, and you could put it on like that phone thing segment we do where you put it on your phone. Where it was a video of like the preview for the Chiefs. It was hyping the Chiefs Cardinals, and it was Mahomes, and he's like brushing off his jersey, whatever, hyped up. And then there was like a segment where Kyler Murray, and they showed like him in shoes or whatever, and then they went to him, and he's just got a like Xbox controller in his hand, and he's putting it out there, and he's like looking at the screen, like it was perfect.
It's a trap. Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. I will. We should do that. We'll throw that up. I'm sure there's be plenty of opportunities for us to highlight that as well. Don't count out the cards, this chairman. Kyler's been playing Madden versus KC all week. He's ready.
Right. And Mr. Navy, Kyler is the kind of QB that can win games by himself. I don't feel that way. There are a lot of people that feel that way. And I've missed a lot of good Kyler games, to be honest. I haven't seen a lot of good Kyler. Every time I watch Kyler Murray, I leave
underwhelmed,
feeling sad. Oh, so underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that's in the second half of the year. Let's keep in mind, Arizona went on the road last year, week 1, against the Tennessee Titans, who became the 1 seed in the AFC, and blew them out. So they very well could come out guns blazing like they did last year, where they had the best record through half the season in the NFL last year, and they fell flat in their face. I don't think that happens this year. I just don't. I don't think this Cardinals team makes the playoffs. I'm very low on this Cardinals team.
Neither of us have them making the playoffs this year, which, in our preseason predictions last week, if you want to go check those out, it's on YouTube. It's on all of our podcast platforms. Go check them out. All of our socials as well. Make sure you go give us a follow on our socials, especially TikTok. We do a lot of funny content on TikTok. So go check that out. I have a hype video on TikTok that you guys aren't going to want to miss. It's incredible. I'm tooting my
cold Steve Austin.
The wifey helped me film that, by the way. It was I don't know how many neighbors were watching me film that TikTok, but click on our TikTok. It's the latest video we have. People are probably looking at me like, what the hell? It took 2 takes for me to get that TikTok locked down. I figured it out somehow. Now that I have minus 250 means the Chiefs are favorites.
I know. Yeah. So I'll run through this again for people that weren't here earlier, explaining spread, over, under, and money line real quick, Chris. Spread.
Yep.
Spread. Chiefs are favored by 6.5. So if you bet on the Chiefs...
I'm going to take code yellow while you do that.
Yeah. Spam code yellow in the chat as Chris takes his first one. I've already done 2, so he deserves it. Spam code yellow in the chat. Real quick, spread. If you take the Chiefs, you just simply subtract 6.5 points, minus 6.5 from their score at the end of the game. If they still win the game after that point, aka if you bet the Chiefs, they have to win by more than 6.5 for you to win that bet against the spread. Vice versa, if you bet on the Cardinals plus 6.5, they can either win the game outright or lose the game by less than 6.5 for you to win that bet. The over-under is simply total points combined by 2 teams. Both teams in that game. So are they going to combine to get over 53.5 points or under 53.5 points? You can bet either side. The money line is betting on who to win. So if you bet KC to win, you have to bet $250 just to make $100. Where vice versa, if you bet $100 on Arizona, you would win $205, if that makes sense. So money line's the most confusing kind of, I think. KC, you got to bet $250 just to make $100. So if you bet $250, they win. You get $350 back because you profit $100. On Arizona, you bet only $100 instead of $250, and they win. You get paid out $305, which is a profit of $205. That's what those numbers mean on each and every one of these games. They're just trying to level the playing field so that Vegas wants everyone to bet on both sides. They want it to be level for the most part because they get paid on the spoilage. So like it's minus 110 usually. So that, if it's 50-50 on each side, you still get that minus 110 on the one side where you're making $10 to every dollar bet, or 10 cents to every dollar bet. as I get in the nitty gritty. But I hope I explained that to make it make sense there, Mr. Navy, as we dive into some more games here. Guru, what's up? I don't have TikTok because I'm an adult. I kid. Of course you kid.
Nobody has TikTok until you download TikTok and you get sucked in.
You get into TikTok and you're like, damn.
Yeah. Then you're sucked in and you're just like, there's no shot. You can't get out. You'll never leave TikTok. You'll see all the corn videos and all the weird things happening around the TikTok. The corn video is just, I mean, the sound, I sing that in my day to day. You're probably at Coors Field working with the Rockies being like, it's corn.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! If you don't know, you don't do it. Don't get into it. We have Bucks and Cowboys here. Tampa Bay, old man Brady with all the drama coming up. I know we had some questions earlier on about is the distraction with Giselle, is all that stuff happening? Everyone's spamming corn in the chat, by the way. They ain't see the original corn video. What's up, mother shuckers? Seth Reckoning. I just got the corn video out of my head. Thanks. It's corn. A big lump of knobs. It's got the juice. It's got the juice.
Got the juice.
Oh, no. Don't do it. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, we have a football game to talk about.
Yeah, we have a football game to talk about. So, Bucks, Cowboys.
Come on, man.
A lot of people are questioning
man.
the validity of this Brady photo. I found it on the internet. It's got to be real, guys.
This was from this afternoon, wasn't it?
Yeah. He went home again and talked to Giselle for a few more hours, and he's aged this much, guys.
What's up, Guru? How we doing?
If you haven't heard, there are reports out there that there's some marital issues between Giselle and Tom, and the fact that Tom unretired. She didn't love that. She put her career on hiatus, supposedly, for Tom to live out his career, and now she's ready to get back into it a little bit, and Tom was supposed to retire, and then Tom said, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And now he's shocked. He is just shocked that she's upset about it.
I mean,
he's aged a little more than that because I think he's had some plastic surgery done, Chris. I think that was also part of the hiatus. I think it was twofold. I think it was dealing with marital issues and also some plastic surgery on his face, because he came back looking weird in the face, Chris, right?
He looked very gaunt, like his cheekbones.
Like they removed any fat whatsoever in his cheeks, where it's just, you can almost imagine what he'd look like without skin. Like it's just a skull. Chris
Guru says the goat doesn't get surgery; he goes to day spas, and they have a surgery thing in the day spa where he does that as well, where he gets all the injections. Love the Brady pick you have up. LOL says JK. Buck yeah says Broncos. I've never seen the corn video you speak of, JK. Just go on the TikTok and scroll like 3 times. You'll find it. He unretired out of spite to him not being able to break the story himself, says Cuban.
Which why wouldn't we look up to a man and a father and a husband that unretires out of spite because he wasn't able to announce his retirement on his own accord? What a guy.
I mean, who wears the pants? Who wears the pants? But Dak MVP, says Mr. Navy. I don't know if I go that far. The Dallas Cowboys, though, let's dive into this one. I think this one, I'm on the Dallas side in this one for a lot of reasons. Now, I just think like they do have a major problem with left tackle Tyron Smith being out. I think that's a big piece, but the Bucks also have a major problem on the interior offensive line. So I think that there's some things that kind of balance out there. Defense has been, far better at home than on the road. They will be, here at home in this home opener here. So I think that that's leaning towards, a nice trend from that standpoint. They have their own wide receiver issues on the Cowboys side, but the key to their success, I think, is Dalton Schultz. I think he'll be a big factor in this one. In the passing game, I think this game should be a closer. I mean, I think this should be a pick 'em, but I love the value that Dallas is getting here in this one. So at home, Dallas, with all the distractions that we've seen from Tom Brady, I mean, whether it's the rumors going on with the Dancing with the Stars, or no, the singer, the Masked Singer, whatever it was. And then you have the distractions. Like, this is not characteristic for a Tom Brady. I don't know where his head's at. So if I'm like that's a big question for me. Like, if you're telling me, if you're talking divorce stuff and that's real life, like those are real reports, there's no way he's going to come into this season the same mentality as he has with New England and with like the first year in Tampa Bay where he was just locked in. He had the offseason where he didn't want to come back. He retired and unretired, which led to this whole thing. And then also like the issues with Tampa Bay. Like I'm not going to lie. If you told Tom Brady, hey, you could be in Tampa Bay or you could be somewhere else, where would you be? He would be somewhere else.
100%.
Probably. So
no, 100%.
So with that being said, I just think there's a lot going on in this matchup. I think that there's a lot of talent with Dallas still. They're going to be competing with the Eagles in this division. I think that Dallas, I would go Dallas side in this one.
Yeah, looking at this Sunday night game, which we will be streaming during Chris, so join us for that. Yep. Check Old Man River over there, Brady in person, live, and let us talk about it with you guys, our friends. Listen, Brady doesn't want to be on Tampa. Brady retired. Part of me think, it was certainly a fake retirement, as Chairman touched on here, to get out of this situation and go to another team. He doesn't think they can win. And then they lose 2 interior linemen in, camp and preseason to injury. It's even worse now because how you affect Brady the most is by getting an interior pass rush. And then he's a dumpster fire of a quarterback.
True.
So, listen, I think Dallas, Dallas is my NFC team, if you guys don't know.
Yep.
I'm worried about Dallas. Left tackle wise, they did sign Jason Peters, the vet, but he's like 41, 42. He's not going to play this week. I think he's just on the practice squad. They literally signed him like a day or two ago. So he probably won't play this week.
Tampa's literally a retirement home. It's literally a retirement home. Everyone's old on that team.
I'm more confident in the Dallas defense than I am their offense, actually, especially early on in the year where Dallas, I think they're not far off from getting Michael Gallup back as their wide receiver 2, which will help a lot. But until then, you basically have CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz at tight end. Like, those are your weapons. You can do the 2-back sets with Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. The offensive line is concerning, but everyone that still thinks in the last couple of years prior to this that the Cowboys had a top offensive line is just mistaken. They didn't, and they still put up points. So
this will be
the defensive player of the year in Micah Parsons. I have this in a teaser where I have the Cowboys plus 8.5, and I love them to cover that. And I also like, I think Navy mentioned this earlier, I like the under in this. I think the under hits.
Yeah. This is the worst offensive line the Cowboys have had. They've been actually getting worse and worse over the years. They've historically, that's the one thing that I worry about with Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott is the fact that he's so used to playing behind good offensive lines that I wonder how he does with an average.
That's what I'm saying though, Chris. The last 2 years their offensive line wasn't that good.
And so that's my big question mark here, Grandpa Brady. Dallas. Agree, says Mr. Navy. Yeah, totally. And I think like this will be an interesting matchup. I still think Dallas is. If I'm on a side here, it's Dallas.
I think Dallas wins this game outright.
I think so too. And I mean, they're getting points at home. Like, why? Why not? Why not? Take them.
And if not, either way, Saints play the Bucks in week 2. Saints will win that game.
Yeah.
Just mark it down.
Oh, Saints have owned last 6? Was it the last 4 or last 6 straight? I think it's like ridiculous, but the Saints own the Bucks no matter who's playing. Like, Saints haven't even had good quarterbacks. They've been rotating like tight ends at quarterbacks and like weird things. So if they're able to beat, they're fine. All right, here we go. Here is the matchup on Monday nights. Let's dive into this one, Scotty. And you know what? I'm going to let you start on this one. Denver at Seattle. You can call it a revenge game. You can call it a reunion. You can call it whatever you want. Russell Wilson traded to Denver from Seattle in the offseason. Now, we are going back to Seattle for this Monday nighter. What do you got, Scotty? What do you got on this game? Squad says Denver by 10, by the way. Be nice, Scott, says Diacola.
Denver by 10, be nice. Taking the over. Cuban talking about that Cowboys. We just assume they have a great O-line and assume it's still true without looking at the roster. Heck, a lot of people think they have Ezekiel Elliott, which they sort of do. Anyway, Chris, did you by chance have an opportunity to read the article on ESPN's front page today about the Russell Wilson Seattle Seahawks dynamic and the history and what went down?
I didn't have time to read it now.
You should check that out. And I will bring up this caveat because most people wouldn't even think to look at this. This was written by the Seahawks beat writer for ESPN. So affiliated in some fashion to the Seahawks, probably protecting the Seahawks a little bit. When I read this article, it only confirms my suspicions more about how much of a phony Russell Wilson is. I know this isn't diving into the game real quick, but I think this is important to note because of the lead article on the front page of ESPN this morning. Okay, Russell Wilson, apparently a couple years ago, was upset during a game where they were up by 24 at half, and he was in the MVP contention. And now, granted, it was like 5 weeks into the year, so it wasn't that far into the year, but he was like putting up really good numbers. He's like, I want to be in the MVP contention. They were up 24 points at half, Chris. And he only threw 5 times in the second half. Now, they won the game by a ton. But he only threw the ball 5 times in the second half. Apparently, he was furious. Because that was jeopardizing his ability to win MVP. And that was the theme of the article, Chris. Now, it went both ways a little bit, but what I took away the most was how much Russell was about himself instead of the team. Now, the defense that carried him to a Super Bowl hated Russell. Didn't say hate in this article, but it basically said that Pete Carroll defended Russell against that defense who got annoyed by Russell. Like, Russell annoyed the defense a lot, and Pete Carroll protected him, is what the article stated. And that gave Russell his Super Bowl. It was the defense. Not that Russell wasn't good. I'm not saying Russell wasn't good.
He was good.
But the defense was the strength of that team. No one would argue that. It was the Legion of Boom. It was the dominant defense. I mean, that's like saying Peyton Manning carried the Broncos to a Super Bowl when they won it. Maybe not to that extent. But, Chris, this article comes off and just shows, like, Russell's team gets mad about these weird things. Like, it just seems like he's very into his own stats. And not about the team, but everything he says is like, I signed a team-friendly deal so we can sign people like Randy Gregory, which is a weird flex because Randy Gregory was like the 3rd best defensive lineman for the Cowboys last year. So, sweet flex, bro. Keep that up. And it's a destination place for free agents. No, it's not. And it's going to be super interesting when you have a 2-headed running monster like you do with Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, and Russell's like, let me cook. Which I think they'd be far better off running the ball more and passing less. I think team success-wise, that would be the better option for him. But Russ doesn't want that. Russ wants to be an MVP. He said, and I quote, being MVP is like a big deal. It's super important. He hasn't got a single vote ever, Chris, in his career. And not a single MVP vote. There's 50 people in the media that vote every year on MVP. He's never got one vote, much less won it. But he's so convinced he's worthy of it, and that Seattle failed him. And now you have this guy here that's so convinced he should be MVP, and you sign him to a $50 million a year contract extension. You have no choice. You have no choice but to cater to his demands, right? But is that for the good of the team, or is that for the good of Russell Wilson?
If you were to take away Russell Wilson out of everything you just said and say Aaron Rodgers in that mix, you would be pretty close in to...
because Aaron Rodgers has won the MVP award the last 2 years, Chris.
Well, take away the MVP. They both won one Super Bowl.
Why are we taking away things, Chris? You can't just take away things.
All right, so all right, let's just take this away then. The Broncos quarterbacks over the last 6 years have averaged 19 touchdowns per season. Russ has averaged 33 in his career. Is that an upgrade?
No one's disputing whether they're upgrading at quarterback.
His record as a starter is 104 and 53. Is that pretty good? He's a 9-time All-Time Pro. He's 2 Super Bowl appearances.
He's what? He's a 9-time
All-Pro.
No, he's not.
He's a 9-time All-Pro.
No chance.
Look it up.
0% chance.
In his 10 years as a starter, he has 1 losing season, and that was last year.
He's played 10 years, Chris. He's not a 9-time All-Pro.
He's only had 1 losing season. Would you say that that's an upgrade for a Denver Broncos team that has had a revolving door at quarterback over the last, since Peyton Manning, and even then, before Peyton Manning to John Elway? Would you say that that's an upgrade?
No one is disputing if it's an upgrade or not, Chris.
No
one's disputing that.
So here's my thing.
How much of an upgrade is the question? And if you read the article, Seattle's front office felt like he was on the decline, and that's why they wanted to maybe move on.
So
when you're referencing these former stats,
well, and then also
they're worried about that.
So injured hand, he had a bad defense last year. He didn't have an offensive line. So well, let's talk about this game.
Chris, he wasn't very good.
Let's talk about this game. You have one of the worst quarterback cores in the NFL. Is that an issue?
Yep.
That's not disputed
in Seattle?
Correct.
No, Geno Smith might be the worst starting quarterback in the league.
So okay, so let's put that out there. So with that being said, you have a team that is overall a better, more well-rounded team. Even the deficiencies still. There's some nice pieces there to combat what the Seahawks are doing to try to win this game. This is going to be a tough game. I'm not going to lie. Coming back in Seattle, I think it'll be a tough game. I didn't want to bet this game by any means. I think the Broncos win this game outright. They win this game I think they win by a touchdown. I think that's reasonable. Monday Night Football. So overall, you got the better quarterback. You got issues with their quarterback with offensive line that wasn't really fixed or addressed in offseason. You have, a lot of pieces. I mean, they have a good wide receiver core. That's fine. Broncos have a nice secondary. It's not the best in the NFL, but it's not the worst. It can hang with some of these players and teams. I just don't trust. I do think Geno Smith, if I'm going to give some props to the Seattle Seahawks, Geno Smith isn't a scrub. He can still put up points. I just don't think it's going to be enough at all against this Broncos team first week. So I got the Broncos winning this game. Do I think it's by the spread? No, but I think that the Broncos win this game.
To be fair, Broncos makes a good point. Article has 0 effect on this game. That's true.
True.
That article has no effect on this game in general. Now, you have a Seattle team that I think is pretty bitter about the departure of Russell. I think Russell, threw certainly offensive linemen under the bus in his career in Seattle. Maybe not other positions, but mostly offensive linemen, maybe coaching as well, but that's it. Listen, I think Seattle has the number 1 home field advantage in all of football. I think if there's a 3-point advantage, it's in Seattle. That home stadium is the biggest advantage in football historically.
12 man is good.
When you look at it, you have a Seattle team that's going to play, and the fans are going to be raucous Monday night. This is literally Seattle's most important game of the year. Now, is this game equally as important to Russell? Yes. Does that move through the whole Denver team? Maybe, maybe not. But you have a Denver team that hasn't had a winning record since they won the Super Bowl, so 6 years ago or whatever it was. Adding Russell Wilson, adding new head coach, first-time head coach, first-time OC, first-time DC. I've said it time and time again. week 1, favored 6.5 points on the road. I granted, I don't think Seattle's going to be a very good team this year. I do not at all. They're going to be pretty bad. But there's no chance that Seattle is going to play. This is the hardest Seattle's going to play all year. They want this game more than any other game.
You're not wrong.
And I think
this is their Super Bowl.
There's an acclimation period with the Broncos and their offense. I give me the points in Seattle. This is one of my picks of the week. Give me 6.5 with Seattle. I really like it if it gets to 7. If it gets to 7, I mean, I love it to the moon. 6.5, I really, really, really like it, and I'll take it.
What do you got on the money line?
I don't have anything on the money line.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you were to pick the money line and lean one way or another, where would you go? Is outside of the spread?
Because I think, I mean, generally, if you're picking a team against the spread, you're also going to pick them against the money line based off the odds, Chris. So, do I think Seattle wins this game? I think there's. I probably would, if I had to throw a percentage on the chances of Seattle winning this game, I think it's somewhere in between, roughly around, I don't know, 36%, Chris.
Okay. Fair enough.
But do they cover 6.5? I think they do that.
I mean,
a lot more than 50% of the
one
time.
thing you are correct on is this is Seattle's Super Bowl. This is the only game that matters to them all season long. They might tank after this game, the rest of the season. They might. They should, and they should, right? I mean,
I don't think they will, but I think they should.
Penny had a couple good games.
Rashad Penny's so underrated, Chris, by the way. That's another factor. Rashad Penny is so underrated.
So
he'll run the ball tomorrow.
How many interceptions does Geno Smith throw? I mean, probably less than Drew Lock.
I don't think Geno throws a ton of picks. He just doesn't throw for a lot of yards. Like, he doesn't move the needle. Like, he's going to throw for, like, I'd be shocked if he gets over like 220 yards passing in this game.
Yeah, Geno Smith, Mr. Navy says, I think people are underrating Geno. I mean, he played Pittsburgh last year pretty close. I mean, Pittsburgh, given the fact that they didn't have like a young, spry quarterback by any means. I mean, but still, Pittsburgh's a tough team on the road to play, and they played them close. Geno Smith kept them in the game. There's a couple other games Geno Smith kept them in. So I'm not.
Well, he started 3 games. He went 1-2, but that was kind of in line with the Seahawks record last year, so it wasn't out of line. And Chairman says Wilson and Geno had the same QB rating last year.
I mean,
I would assume that's true. I don't know if that's true.
I don't know if it's true. I mean, Russell Wilson had a jacked hand. You mean, like, you know, how much does that play into it? Obviously, I don't know. I haven't thrown a football with a finger backwards, so I don't know what that looks like. But
he was rehabbing 17 hours a day to get back, Chris.
He wasn't on the Kyler Murray video game rehab with his fingers, so I don't know.
It might have been borderline worse because he said he was rehabbing his fingers 17 hours a day, and someone should just go and slap him in the face for saying that. And then Chris, when he says out loud, Mr. Unlimited, sometimes you have to be unlimited. And I'm just like, I would like to limit your vocal cords for a second. I think he's I think is regressing a little. 2 years ago, I would have put him as a top 5 QB. I don't think he's there anymore, Chris.
Well, you still have him as a top 12.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, you still have him as a top third of this league, realistically. So, yeah, I mean, it's an upgrade for Denver. I think they're going to do well in this game. I think they win this game. Do I think it's by the spread? Maybe not, but I think they win this game Monday night. It'll be a good one. I'm not going to lie. So that's going to pull us in for here we go.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Let's ride. Let's ride.
It's a trap.
Let's
we made
ride.
it, Chris. We made it through our first blitz of the year.
Our first blitz. By the way, we named it the Blitz. I hope you guys like that. It's a new thing for us. But this was 2019, Russ. The Broncos would be thought of as much higher. Sure. I agree. No matter what, it's an upgrade. Regardless of what, if you're getting 2019 Russ or 2022 Russ, it's an upgrade from what we typically have at quarterback regardless. So I'm not going to lie. I don't envy what's going on in Seattle. I don't envy the fact that our quarterback from last year couldn't win a quarterback competition with Geno Smith. That's what I'm fine with that. I'm fine. I don't have to deal with that. Just put that in perspective a little bit for Broncos fans. So that's where we're at.
Then ride with Russ for a while and see what happens.
Well, we're riding with him for the extension of this deal that he just signed recently in the last couple weeks.
He won't make it through the whole deal.
He has a out at, I think, year 3. What is it?
No. Well, the Broncos more important.
The Broncos. Broncos have an out at year 3, which, I mean, I'll take that. I mean,
5 years from now. So there will be some disappointing years for the Broncos.
But you know what? One thing that we will do is they'll take down your Chiefs once this year.
Given Benny, is Russ a Pro Bowler this season? Maybe if 5 other quarterbacks back out on the AFC side. The AFC is so stacked at quarterback.
AFC is really stacked. I don't know if I'd put
he's behind Mahomes. He's
Lamar.
behind Herbert. He's probably behind Lamar. He's behind Josh Allen. He's behind Joe Burrow.
He's behind a lot.
There's
of guys.
a lot of guys there.
If you ride with Russ, you will go 10 wins every year, but not make a single Super Bowl appearance. I don't know if I necessarily. I don't know.
Agree with getting to 10 wins every year. Is that what you meant? I think
they could get there. I think that. I mean, any given Sunday, right? Especially in the playoffs, you have the right players around. The issue I have too, also with we spent way too much time on this. We have to get to our
Rex
draft.
calling me out, by the way, that I dog on AFC teams. When I literally gave the Pittsburgh Steelers a prediction of well over their win total this year and said they're going to cover this first week, Rec, I supported your own team in the AFC this week and for the season, and you're saying I don't support any AFC team. I don't know. It's kind of hurtful. Hurts my feelings a little bit.
Oh no, we hurt his feelings.
Bruh.
Don't do it. He isn't the owner's guy. This is cute. Really, how long is Patton's leash? If it doesn't show big results, we'll see. I mean, again, what's beneficial for the Broncos as an organization is they can move on if they need to at a certain point, which helps them. If Russ does not progress in the next couple years, they can make a decision at that point, which is really beneficial for the Broncos, considering the longer this contract goes, the more money he makes and the more it hurts what we can do as a franchise. So that's
draft and develop a quarterback, because that's gone well.
That's the problem. The Broncos. No, seriously, we can't draft the quarterback.
To be fair, it's a different regime, so that doesn't really apply.
We can't draft a quarterback. It's a curse. So I think the Hawks could win 8 games. Seahawks. I take the under. I take the under on that, Mr. Navy.
I would take the under on that, Navy. No offense.